We believe the earth is sacred and essential, and you are too. So I've gone live a couple times today already, just testing out what's the best platform for me to go live on, whether or not I should go live on YouTube or on Twitch. And I do not know the technology of Twitch well enough to be able to record my live on there. So I decided to do YouTube, and it's been a little better. And as I was doing the cooking earlier, I realized I still had a few more things to get in place for the mise en place for the crabless crab cakes. And so I got everything ready, and I'll show you what we have going on here. Hello to whoever just tuned in. Thanks for tuning in again. I am testing with these live streams and I finally got everything set up to go ahead and make these crabless crab cakes. So for this assignment, I made egg-free mayo, which is delicious. I actually love it better than regular mayo. And now I'm making the crab-free crab cakes. And I was wrong about heart of palm. Heart of palm is actually from the palm tree, which you would think that I would know that. And that would be an obvious one because it's heart of palm, not heart of artichokes. Okay, and so the heart of palm, like my video skills, this is heart of palm right here. And I'm gonna break that up with my hands, and it's gonna be like the crab cake. This is the egg-free mayo. Delicious, right? We got some almond flour to go in with a mix of panko and Italian breadcrumbs so that this is also gluten-free. And then we have, let's see, those are shallots. We have some, I did not have Old Bay, so I made homemade Old Bay with some spices. Berbere from Africa, some chipotle, and some honey garlic, I think, is in there. And then we've got some honey Dijon mustard as well. And of course, the gorgeous daffodils from the yard. Those are not going in the crabless crab cakes, don't worry. And capers. I love capers. They're little tiny, teeny baby olives. And what else? Lemon zest. Zesterific for you. This is a spoon from Sage Mountain I need to return. And then I got accidentally sent home with a dish after a potluck. Fresh ground pepper. And yep, so I'm gonna mix, oh, and sea salt, of course. And I chose to use the Celtic sea salt for this recipe because it's crab cakes, or fake crab cakes. And then we also have a romaine and kale Caesar salad, which I'm really excited about. Thanks to everyone watching. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to come live again. Whoop whoop. I missed going live, and I'm just trying to ease back into it. You know, I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a lot of stuff on the internet, right? And there's so many people, like millions of people, doing their own thing now. And everyone does it their own way. And it is true, that comparison is the thief of joy because sometimes the more that I watch those things, the less I want to go live and the less I want to do videos because I start thinking, well, I don't have the technology skills. I don't have the fancy backgrounds like the things on Twitch and the emojis and the effects. I'm really not that tech savvy quite yet. But I have me and I have my heart and I have what I can offer in this way. So that's all that we can do sometimes is offer the best of what we have. So I'm gonna go ahead and make these crabless crab cakes because I'm really excited to eat them and they're super late on the homework assignment for the Auguste Escoffier Culinary School of Arts. I'm doing their health and wellness culinary program to go along with what I do as a health and wellness coach and a therapist and counselor and herbalist and really just brand gardener. as well. And waitress and bartender. I've done a lot of different things and teacher. And I really love food, good wine, good company. And if you don't drink wine, good beverage of other choice. And I definitely have a strong appreciation for things like tea and good coffees. And so let thy food be thy medicine and thy medicine be thy food. And so a lot of our health problems, whether it's cancer, diabetes, even things like mental health problems, can be linked to nutritional deficits. So even for kids, when we're looking at how do we develop a healthy menu for kids at school, and how do we develop healthy menus for our family? And how do we stick to those things? And how do we make them delicious at the same time? Because a lot of us, hello, hi Sarita, however you prefer to pronounce it. Thanks for being here. Talking about how we make healthy, delicious, and nutritious food for ourselves and our loved ones. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash my hands because I just re-pulled my hair back in a ponytail. Although I'm the only one gonna eat these tonight, and they're going to go with the romaine and kale salad. Kind of homemade croutons. I don't consider them homemade unless you made the bread yourself, bread the made yourself. And let's see, and then there's one other thing that goes along with this. So we're making the crabless crab cakes. I did the egg-free mayo. Oh, yep, and we're gonna use some of this from the container for the egg-free aioli and an egg-free Spanish omelet, which sounds delightful as well because I love potatoes. So, all right, thanks for watching, and let's go ahead and get to this. And I think I am gonna go ahead and just let a little bit of music play in the background. We're gonna listen to deep Jamaican meditation music, relaxing dub reggae mix, royalty free, of course, in the background. Because I want to dance. All right, let's see here. So, crabless crab cakes. What are you all having or did you have for dinner tonight already? For anyone who's listening, a few viewers. Don't mind my imperfect home. It's a lived-in home. I got one viewer. Thank you for staying on. Thank you for the likes. Bum, 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 bum. I figure instead of just watching other people's shows, I should do one of my own. All right, Heart of Palm. I'm actually going to read us a little bit about Heart of Palm because I didn't know anything about it. I know this is just going to make my homework take longer, but that's okay. So I opened this up earlier today. I love to open up books to see what comes up, and I opened straight up to jackfruit. So we will have to go grab some jackfruit and do an educational little video about jackfruit. Let's see. So let's find Hearts of Palm. I wonder if it's in here. So this book, in case you're wondering, one of my favorite books. It's a book recommendation. It's called Visual Food. So Visual Food, the definitive visual food practical guide to food and cooking encyclopedia. I love encyclopedias. I think they're magical. That's why I always open up books to like random page and see what kind of wisdom pops up. And I love reading, and I've always loved reading. So let's see here. It was my escape from the things that were harder to deal with. So let's see here. Reading and music. Cherries. apples, pears, kumquat. It's spelled humquat, not kumquat, apparently. Limons, lemons. All right, I'm gonna go straight to. See, this is what I was taught when I was a kid. I don't know if they don't really teach this these days. Now it's open your computer and Google it. But back in the day when we only had books for references, we had to go to this thing in the back called the index. Anyone remember that? I can barely read it. Let's see if Heart of Palm is even in here. It's the chef chick. What's up? Love your stream. Thank you. Franco Velázquez 18. Nice to see you in here. So I am, let's see here, looking for Heart of Palm, but I can't, my eyes are so bad I can't even read the index. So hold on, I need better light. It's actually not in there, so let's see if it's under palm. It's also not in there. So Heart of Palm, this is the center of a palm tree. And it's actually soft. I thought it would have been hard, but it's not. And so that's the main ingredient for these crab cakes. So we will go through this book at another time. I really love it. It's one of my favorite references. Mango. I mean, look at these pictures. I do not think that books are outdated. I love books. There's this restaurant in Saratoga. I was just talking about it today, and they have this amazing little, it's not little, it's a gorgeous library room basically with like antique furniture and wood and tons of old books. So knowledge is power. And that's actually, again, a great topic for health and wellness, is really educating yourself. Because oftentimes, if you don't educate yourself, you won't even know like what to say to the doctors, for example, whenever you go to the doctors. And my experience with the doctors has been that, see, it looks kind of like artichokes, but it's not. Food. So, giving thanks for this food and everything that brought us this food. No matter whether you are religious or not, most likely you eat. Most likely you have to sustain yourself in some way, shape, or form. Even if you're only drinking nettle tea, you're food. I love food too. See, Franco. Is that the new Marco Polo? Franco? Sorry, my sense of humor is interesting. So I'm just going to try to stick to what I'm talking about. But anyways, the instructions say to break this up with your hands so that it kind of mimics lump crab meat, and that's what I'm doing. But back to what I was saying is like everybody needs food, and you don't need to be spiritual, you don't need to be religious to appreciate food. And if you've ever been hungry, you appreciate food even more. And if you've ever had to grow your own food, you appreciate food even more than most people, right? And I really think it's important that we have healthy food, that especially to give to the kids, because of how important that it is for brain development and focus in school. And have you ever tried to study when you were hungry at school, or even like getting along with your peers if they're hangry? And we can't always control what kids eat when they go home, but if we're working in education systems where kids get sent to the building, public or private, then we can have a say in what kind of foods are offered there. Let's see here. And it's also a great opportunity to teach reliance and self-sufficiency to children. I always got made fun of as a kid calling me Marco. Oh no, I'm so sorry. Sorry, Franco. Please forgive me. Where are you from, Franco? si quieres contestarme. Um, I'm not assuming you speak Spanish. I just love Spanish and I also speak Spanish. So Arizona, eh? Do you like it? It's warm. So I was saying this earlier when I was on live about how in schools they often have very sugary breakfasts that they give the kids. I need to fix my ponytail and I can't. And when you give kids sugary breakfasts, it actually puts a spike in, in their energy in a bad way and sets them up for, crashing, their sugar crashing later on. And so it actually makes it harder for them to focus and learn when you jack them full of sugar first thing in the morning. And eating 50 grams of sugar or more in one sitting can actually reduce the efficiency of your immune system by up to 50%. And so we've got all these kids, and if you've ever worked in a school, you know how germs pass around in schools, right? So you've got all these kids in school, and we jack them up with sugar first thing in the morning. Even if you look at the sugar content in the milk, it's a bit high, especially the chocolate milks. And so then we want to get mad at the kids, or well, we don't want to get mad at them, but I've seen a lot of frustration with children over the years, for that they can't sit still. They're not designed to sit still. They're small children, and they, even up to adolescence, especially in high school, they need physical movement and exercise. Yay, hearts! Hearts galore, corazones, gracias. Yo hablo bueno español, but English is my first language, and I love it as it beautiful if you get away from the city. Nice. Yeah, I have never been to Arizona. I really don't know anything about it. I think Mount Shasta's in Arizona, right? I got some seeds the other day. They're over here. Some Shasta daisy seeds because I'm also a gardener. And let's see here. I know AZ is Arizona. Shasta daisy seeds. It's embarrassing I bought the Burpee brand, but they're just, for flowers, perennial seeds. So often I think that, Silver Princess, often I think that even if the seed is GMO, if we're growing it in a really rich soil and good, healthy, organic terroir, that can affect the epigenetics of the plant seeds as well. So even if they were originally GMO, non-organic seeds, growing them in organic soil, I believe, can help strengthen the healthier aspects of the genetics, which, this is like people too. Speaking of genetics, so how you grow your plants affects the result. What you put into them, what kind of soil you're using, are you protecting them from predators, all those kinds of things. And kids are like that too, even pregnant women. If a pregnant woman isn't getting the nutrition that she needs, it's going to affect the development of the fetus, right? And other things can affect the development of the fetus as well. Even genetics can also affect the development of the fetus. For example, I learned a few years ago from a doctor that there are some genetic makeups or some blood types from different backgrounds that don't they don't go, I don't want to say they don't go well together because that probably sounds wrong, but they just aren't compatible genetically speaking for some reason. And it has to do with the difference between some of the, in cannabis genetics, you might say like the heritage or the land races, the pure original genetics. So sometimes there's just things that don't always aren't always compatible. Thank you for calling me intriguing. I hope that's a compliment. Um, I'm different. So my point with all this is that's part of why I'm taking this class is because I really wanted to refine my cooking abilities and be able to cook healthier meals for my family and also cook healthier meals for my friends and for, kids, and also to help enrich what I can offer the world through my businesses and, volunteer work. I've lived in Vermont for so long that every now and then I get an idea and I run with it. Wahaha, that was a joke. But anyways, um, yeah. So sometimes it rubs off on my accent. You don't have to shut up and learn. This is just really casual. Like, I like going live. I love people. I love talking. And this is just a way for me to be a little bit more productive with my time. And at least I can share it on here, and hopefully it shares some joy with somebody. Lasquez, what does your apellido mean? What does that mean? I wish I had more nutritional information for you about the heart of palm. And I should have anticipated that and prepared better. But I'm not Hollywood. I don't have a crew, a team. I don't have people that prep me. I do my own makeup. um, as you can see, my fashion is Vermont at the moment, and so I'm not here to really try and be super fancy and fake. I just hit live and figured I would show you all what I'm up to and share more. And I guess you are learning, so I shouldn't sell myself short in that regard. What do you like to eat, Franco? Are you 18? Are you over 18? Just making sure. Since I don't want to, I don't want to talk to minors in YouTube. No offense or anything. I just don't know all the laws about it, and I want to be extra careful. I really need to put on some different music because I'm not feeling this music right now. So if you don't mind, give me a moment. So tomorrow is I remember the biscuits and gravy, but I didn't ask you how old you were. I do love me some good biscuits and gravy. My first restaurant job was at a Bob Evans. Do you know what Bob Evans is? Down on the farm. Well, it wasn't my first job, but it was my first job when I was 16. I did a lot of different jobs before I was old enough to get a job. The typical babysit, dog sit, yard work. I helped work in my dad's tool warehouse. So for as long as I can remember, because he started his tool business out of the garage, we were dipping the pliers that didn't have the rubber grips on them in the dip. And I remember one time, he hung string up throughout the entire garage, and we just dipped the handles of pliers into this rubber coating and hung them up to dry, because that's what you did. You flipped them. You bought them without the rubber coating, cleaned them up, dipped them, and then sold them for, multiple times what you bought it for. Suppose that would be called hustling. And so then I learned inventory, and I learned, how to do the cash register and answering the phone and computer stuff, shipping. Ohio. I know a few folks from Ohio. Nice. Sausage gravy. Tim Hortons. I didn't know they had a Tim Hortons in Ohio back then. Tim Hortons has pretty good coffee. Do you miss Ohio? This, um, meanwhile, I should be talking about all the food. But this is how we develop relationships is through conversation. And I definitely need to get a better camera set up. And try and record on multiple devices or go live on multiple channels. All right, let me change this music. Excuse me. All right, here we go. Royalty-free Cinco de Mayo music. The best sausage gravy. Come on now, you're right. It is. Ohio, I don't really know. I remember Steubenville, Ohio. I know a judge from Steubenville, Ohio, and I have a dear friend that I used to work with from Steubenville, Ohio. And then I learned a couple Russian words from someone in Ohio. Um, and we used to go to a furniture store in Ohio with my mom. She liked furniture shopping for some reason. All right, so we got the crab. Look, if you didn't know that this was Heart of Palm, I'm spilling it. If you didn't know this was Heart of Palm, right? It looks kind of like lump crab meat. Near Columbus. I knew a guy named Tim and Randy, and they loved Bone Thugs and Harmony. And my friend Jessica and I would listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony with Tim and Randy. And now Chappelle owns Ohio. I mean, he doesn't own it, but you know what I mean. Interesting. Okay, so now what's next? This is supposed to be Cinco de Mayo music, but it's like classical. So we're gonna mix the celery in. So I have this dream of Snoop Dogg coming to my kitchen. Ever since I've moved here, I wanted to have a cooking show, like a Martha Stewart kind of cooking show, and have Snoop Dogg on it, and like just have people come over and they tell me like what their favorite recipe is from childhood or something they learned to love. What's their favorite recipe, and then we cook it together and we have fun. Just because it's a great way to make friends and get to know someone and share love with the world, right? And it's also a wonderful way to learn about culture and to learn about nutrition and to also learn about farming, because if we didn't have farming, we won't have the food. And if you listen to Cat Williams' one of his recent comedies about how hard farming is, and don't worry, the next week's recipe calls for paprika. But the comedy was good, and he makes a great point that farming is definitely hard work. Until you do it yourself, you just won't know, right? Let's see here. Bone Thugs and Harmony is the Shia. Yes, they are. Bone, 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 bone. Tell me what you gonna do when there ain't nowhere to hide. What you gonna do when judgment comes for you. I know that wasn't the tune there at the end, but you get the point. I got my little bone necklace here. I gotta put a new hemp string on it, cow bone, from my number one herbal teacher, Rosemary Gladstar. She gave me this when I apprenticed with her for a summer and did an internship many moons ago. I will have to fix the string for it. And let's see here. So is Dave Chappelle. Yes, he is. He's a funny man. Really cool idea. I love it. You should do it for real. Oh, the cooking show? F yeah, thank you. I'm cool. Asperger's as F. Joke with myself, but it's true. So that's why my content is probably a bit strange. And also, I am not trained in the video stuff, and I'm not really trained in entertainment at all. I'm just naturally entertaining. No, I'm just kidding. So, anyways, next up, capers. Dun, 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 to the rescue. We have our little tiny capers. I love capers. They're little olives. See, if I had a good camera set up, I could really show you that. So, I'm gonna just toss those capers in there like it's nobody's business, because it ain't. I'm just kidding. Capers, voila. And what's next? Pepper, pimienta. And next, we have our homemade Old Bay, just like me. Homemade Old Bay. Woo! Little bits of lemon zest of lemon. Now I'm craving biscuits and gravy. Gonna have to try that. I'm not a big fan of vegan sausage, though, are you? Like, if I'm gonna eat sausage, I want real sausage, probably, but some vegan sausage is good. I seem like cool company. Thank you. Until you piss me off. No, I'm just kidding. I think I'm pretty cool company most of the time when I'm not crying crazy. I'm a bad but committal. Sorry, I like to switch the lyrics up to songs. I've done it ever since I was a kid. I don't know why. One time my mom had me sing. You know, food is therapy, right? So cooking with someone and talking can be like therapy. She had me sing and dance the I'm a Little Teapot, right? Short and stout thing. And I just kept changing the lyrics. And she was like, it's on video, so there's evidence. She was like, no, Stephanie, you have to do it the right way for grandma, or I won't give you this, or else I won't give you this peach. She made me earn my keep. So I did. I had to sing it the right way before I got my peach. You'll eat vegan, but you definitely still love steak and meats. I love a good steak. I crave a good steak sometimes, a really good juicy burger. I'm just particular about where the meat is from, especially because, again, this is about health and wellness, you know, so a lot of the meat, stretch my leg, a lot of the meat that's not organic has the hormones in it. And as a man, if you're a man, which I'm assuming you are, and if you're not, I apologize, any of the meats that have the growth hormones in it are not good for your maleness. And they're also not even really that good for femaleness. Like, as there was a rise in the consumption of red meat in Asian countries, Asian women started to develop larger breasts and hips and have their, time of the month earlier because they were not used to that level of growth hormone in the meats and the milk. You're definitely a man. Okay, cool. But yeah, I like vegan. I can eat I like vegan sometimes. But same like with meat. It's all about how it was raised and prepared, and sometimes even who made it. Like, have you ever ate a meal that an angry person cooked and then you end up angry? You're like, why am I angry? I have nothing to be angry about. And you're like, oh yeah, so and so cooked my meal tonight. I was at such and such restaurant. And if you believe in the science of water molecules and how our energy can affect the shape of water molecules, then it would only be reasonable deduction, scientifically logical, to think that that's why we bless the food. You put the good energy into the food and something in it changes. And that's why, you find a person who can really say a nice meal blessing beforehand. It can really make all the difference in how that meal and the time together is enjoyed, because time is sacred, time is money, time is a good friend, time is infinite. I'm kind of over the time conversation. I'm going to side with Mae Musk on the timeless, although I still have to read her books and appreciate them. An angry meal is the worst. Yes, exactly. It's like you can taste the hate. You're like, no, thank you. I'll just have a water, please. All right. Yeah, I worked at a Bob Evans. It was my first restaurant job. Man, that gravy though, if you're not careful with the ladle when you're scooping it out on those biscuits, dried sausage gravy is hard to clean up. All right. So let's see here. We did the mustard. We did the celery. We did the shallots, and then we did the pepper and the homemade Old Bay. Time is amazing so long as you share it with good people. Yeah, I'm not saying I have a problem with time. Time is a good friend, right? El tiempo es un buen amigo, ellos dicen. Pero, ¿cómo se dice pressure? Like, I feel like pressure and stress kind of take away from the enjoyment of time. And pressure and stress and anxiety actually stop us from being in like that alpha flow state or whatever Greek letter it is. But the flow state. That's why it's so important. I just made those extra salty on accident. Oops. That's why it's so important to do things like meditate and calm your body and your nervous system down so that you can be more aware. Being aware from a calm state is different from being aware in a panic or stressful state. All right, so we have all that in there, and I'm just gonna stir it a little bit more and then get it ready for making into the patsies and then frying it. Franco, what's your favorite food in Arizona? That sounds probably annoying, sorry. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to put one of the most important ingredients in, which is the egg-free mayo. I'm just going to sprinkle a little tiny bit of these almond flour in the... Oops, whatever, I guess I just put it all in there. In the breadcrumbs. I'm going to put the mayo in here. I should use the spatula, right? All right, what does that say? Sleight, what about it? Sleight of hand. Oh, slightly annoying, that sound? Yeah. Some sounds I'm more sensitive to than others. Like my dog, I love her, but when we go on a walk, if she's not on the leash, she barks at me. It's first thing in the morning. I bet you can imagine what I say. Kind of like pozole, but I think it's much better, especially since I'm near the border. We get that real Mexican food out here. Yeah, man. I love la comida mexicana, like real, auténtica. It's one of my favorite types of food, honestly. Avocados and mangoes. All right, so we got this. I'm gonna do a close-up real quick because I think I have to take a picture for my class. So if I take a video close-up, then I can just probably screenshot it, right? So that's what it looks like. Kind of like crab. The seafood is out of this world. I love seafood also. All right, so that goes there. And then we have our little breadcrumb mixture. Panko breadcrumbs and almond flour. I'm going to cook in a cast iron pan. I really expected a different type of Mexican music, but this will do. I like it. It's like classical Cinco de Mayo. What made you move to Arizona, Franco? Hello? Oh, I'm going back to one. I'm just going to start coming on live and cooking and like talking and pulling tarot cards or doing educational stuff more often because it's probably a better use of my time than just watching other people's stuff all the time, right? So I'm gonna reuse this little plate because this one doesn't have anything on it. I don't think I had just put some pepper on it. So my little antique plate collections. This one is Royal Christ, warranted 22 karat gold. I probably shouldn't be cooking when eating off these, huh? I just have a thing for dishes, antique dishes. You were born and raised in Arizona, but ended up traveling with work, and that's how I ended up in Ohio and stuff. Okay, sweet. Good to know, good to know. So first we make a patty. It's a little too wet. Okay. I don't know how big we should make these. I do love real crab cakes. You've lived in like 8 different states and I've gone to work in like 15 states. What do you do for work? If you don't mind me asking, and if you don't want to answer that, you don't have to. So I'm just spreading out the breadcrumbs so that when I dip this in them, they're not. Yeah, see? They're a little wet though. Just because I'm making them doesn't mean they're gonna turn out okay, but that's the fun part. They're fake crab cakes though. They're made with heart of palm. I did buy real crab cake. I'm just gonna kind of press that extra liquid out of there. Oh yeah, that's totally the right culinary chef technique, I bet. Yeah, cooking at a professional level is definitely different than cooking at home. Just for you and your kid, I think. Alright, so that will just do that. Sprinkle a little more on top. And then I'm going to throw it in the frying pan. And I'm sure the breadcrumbs will just soak up some of that excess juice. Crabless crab cakes. Krabby Patties! Anything blue color you enjoy working with your hands? You're a jack of all trades. It pays me and I have the tools to do it. If you have the tools to do it, you'll do it. Anything blue? Why blue? Like glass, blue paint, blue, blue, blue. I do love my blue hoodie that I hijacked. It's not my blue hoodie, but it sure is cozy. Now turn the stove on. Does that mean you're a federal agent and you like to work with blue? Everything blue? You work for the federal government, sir? Would make sense with all the moving, right? Let's see, next one. Dun, 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 dun. All right, so I might just go ahead and log off at some point here soon. I just turned that on. We got one crabby, non-crabby patty. We have a happy patty in the frying pan. Cars, propane welding, and things like that. Oh, nice. I like cars. Welding is cool. Propane. All right. Non-crabby patty number 2. I think they need more capers. Because of propane. Am I disappointed? Is that what I said? I don't know. As long as you're not gonna cause me pain, we're probably good. Because when I read propane, I read propane like professional. You're a professional pain inducer, a professional punisher. That's how I interpret that. Or it could just be, just a spelling error. Maybe you're a fighter or something. Maybe you're a debt collector. I don't really know. Maybe you're the investigator. Maybe you're a dom and you get paid to deliver pain to people in that form. I'm silly. I am silly. Propane, like I know, but it's spelled different, and that's why I said like, oh, maybe he's like, cryptically saying that he actually does something else. And then you can also, doesn't propane explosive, like, God forbid someone fucks with your propane tank at home, All right, non-crabby patsy number 2. It takes all kinds, my mom says. We need all kinds of people. I'm not disappointed in you. All right. It's okay. I'm not knocking your spelling if it was an accident. It's an accident, it's fine. It's also similar to how they spell bread in French, maybe you're a pro bread baker. All right. We got one more out of this, I think. Hello, John Harrington. Hi, sir. Nice to see you. I'm doing a cooking homework assignment. I am making crabless Krabby Patties. And I guess that would make them happy patties? I don't know. It's for a culinary arts, health, and wellness program that I'm in. I hope you're well. How are you? Yeah, this is Cooking and Comedy, the unofficial new addition to Comedy Central. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not on any comedy station yet that I know of. Maybe like an illegal reality TV show that I never consented to, but you know. What is that show with Jim Carrey? The Truman Show? So I got two of these crabless crab patties made with egg-free homemade mayo. So these are gluten-free, these are egg-free, these are meat-free, and these are dairy-free. So for your friends who are really hard to cook for, this could be a good thing. You got it all covered. As long as they don't mind capers, you could be good to go. Great movie, The Truman Show. I cried at that at the end. That's the only main thing I remember is like my heart hurt when I at the end of that movie. I was like, oh, I feel for him. Um, I haven't seen that in a long time. I love Jim Carrey. I think he's underappreciated and underrated and underestimated. Same with Leonardo DiCaprio, man. You don't hear too much about him in the news either. And the only reason I mention him isn't just because he has really beautiful blue eyes that are undeniably attractive, but because he loves nature, right? So he's out here doing all this stuff for wildlife, and actually being, you know, like a professional advocate outside of just being an actor. And a lot of those folks do, and other things, philanthropy. I know what's her name. She's super popular. Taylor Swift, that one. She does work with domestic violence folks. I believe the nonprofit has the word heart in it. I just can't, joyful heart or something like that. So, you know, and there's folks out there that help kids all the time. Oprah's done a ton of stuff to help the girls in Africa. I'm rambling. Same, but as silly as it sounds, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective is like my number one comedy movie ever. My dog has a little detective mustache, ironically speaking. And a really interesting, she has like a white girl poofy fro on top. I'm not gonna show her though because my hands are covered in happy Krabby Patties. Yeah, Ace Ventura was great. I liked The Mask. I thought The Mask was funny. Um, but yeah, The Mask and Ace Ventura. Can diet help with mental health? Yes, that is what I was talking about actually earlier. Is from both different angles. There can be nutritional deficits that impact things like ADHD, you know, both the development and the sustaining of it, depression and anxiety. Um, so I find nutrition to be helpful for me. And even, I gotta flip those, even from a self care perspective, because I know for me, like if I'm not drinking enough water, if I'm not eating dark leafy greens, fresh fruits and vegetables, like if I'm just eating cheese, dairy, and meat and gluten all the time, I end up feeling horrible. And not just because of depression, but because of how it affects your body physically. And then if you don't feel good in your body, then that can affect mental health. So it's like, you know, getting it from both sides of it. You're impacting both your physical and your mental, emotional health when you take care of your body. I hope that answers your question. And you know, John, they might have taken the Mr. Harrington, they might have taken the website down, but I had a great behavioral health resource. If you Google behavioral health nutrition facts, there's a great website that has like a list for the different mental health, behavioral health things. and what their nutritional recommendations are for vitamins. Like even vitamin D, for example, especially here in Vermont, if you have a vitamin D deficiency, it can greatly contribute to depression. So this time of year, where we're just coming out of, a long Vermont winter, getting your vitamin D and your vitamin C is essential. I know that I have a 10,000, I don't know, is it IUs? I think that's how they measure the vitamin D. I don't remember. But I know that if I've been feeling really depressed and I take one of those higher dosages of the vitamin D, that by the next day I definitely feel a difference. And again, I'm not a doctor, so I can't diagnose, prescribe, or treat, but those are some of the things that came to mind as we were talking. Am I single? I'm married to God and the earth right now at this point. Sorry. Thank you, though. All right, I have to flip these happy crabless patties because I think they're gonna burn. And I need more olive oil. Thank you, John. Yeah, and I got the behavioral health resources when I worked at Northern Counties Healthcare. So it was something that we used in that work. So Betsy Fowler, it's Betsy Fowler approved, so it's got to be a good resource. All right, a little extra olive oil never hurt. I'm a big fan of olive oil. I know it was a long shot, but honestly, thank you. I really appreciate it. I don't know you yet. So thank you for watching my video. Thank you. I believe in God. God, if it weren't for God, I'd not be here right now on many different levels. So I'm thankful to God for my life and my son's life. All right, flip it the crabless. The crabless. Woo! Yes! It's perfectly golden brown. I didn't burn it. And it's stuck together too. So that's a win. God bless you, sir. I hope everything is okay with you. So I'm just cooking this last Krabby Patty. I'm going to show you the one that turned out well, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and end the video maybe, because then I have to make the salad and all the other stuff too. I just wanted to get on the live and show my face because I've been going through a really challenging time, and it's made it really hard to function, and it's made it hard to take care of myself and to do the things I love, including things like taking a walk outside my home. Had to get 2 no stalking orders this year. It's just been a lot of different domestic violence over the years. Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate your help and support, and community friendship. And the other one that came to mind, John, and this one's from the Plainfield Health Center. I believe it's I don't want to say it's wrong. Niacin, maybe it's a supplement. Let me see here. Yeah, niacin, Niacin, and that's a commonly prescribed supplement too. And the other cool thing, just to let you know, about the vitamin D is that insurance will often cover it. If your doctor recommends vitamin D for you, they'll cover it. And also vitamin B, in the liquid form. If you want to take vitamin B, or my preference and my understanding is that the liquid vitamin B is better, the sublingual, because you get it into your body differently versus if you take the non-sublingual, the non-liquid into your stomach, the stomach acid is more likely to um, break apart the molecules in a way like that's not as conducive. Your body doesn't absorb as much of the vitamin. Let's see here. McLaren. I've never rode in one of those. McLaren the Creator. Isn't that what they're called? Don't crash it, sir. Hello, do you know Snow by the Red Hot Chili Peppers? No, sir, I do not. I'm guessing that's a song. I'll have to listen to it. Hello! I only have one person watching, so I'm not sure who got on and got off. But yeah. So let's see this Krabby Patty here. This Happy Patty. Stop it. My dog is down here. And put the music back on. Okay. And then we're gonna end it. This is my first ever homemade crabless patty. Yeah, when you said long shot earlier, don't shoot me. No shooting. This is a peaceful home. I just like to take care of people and love on them and share the knowledge I've gained over the years. And so look at this. You wouldn't even know that it's vegan, would you? Here's a vegan, gluten-free Happy Patty. A crabless Krabby Patty. I love crab patties, so crab cakes. I'll call this a crabless crab cake. And I'm going to have my cake and eat it too. Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of Sacred Earth Essentials, where I believe the earth is sacred and essential, and you are too. Bye. Alright, I don't even know how to end the video. Oh yeah, the X.